Good day everyone, I am Mary Priscilla, lecturer of Food Nutrition and Dietetics at Milagros College. I am here to deal with the topic, the functions of liver, the damages caused and the infectious hepatitis. Let's go to what is liver. Liver is a dark or reddish brown vital organ. It is the largest internal organ or largest gland. It is situated in the right side of the abdominal cavity below the diaphragm. In males, it weighs about 1.4 to 1.6 kgs. In females, about 1.2 to 1.4 kgs. Let's see the functions of liver one by one. First one is excretory function. Liver plays an important role in excretory function, that is, three elements, bile pigments, bile salts and cholesterol, they are excreted into bile, then into the small intestine. Next function is metabolic function. Liver plays an important role in few of the metabolisms like protein, carbohydrate, lipids, minerals and vitamins. Next is hematological function. Liver plays a very important role in producing fibrinogen. Fibrinogen is a protein which is present in blood. It helps in coagulating blood or clotting blood. It also produces clotting factors like factor 5 and 7. It plays an important role in the synthesis of plasma proteins and destruction of erythrocytes. Erythrocytes is nothing but it's a cell which is present or formed in the bone marrow and it is present in the blood. Next is storage. So it plays an important role in storing glycogen. Glycogen is a protein which is present in blood. It is a stored form of carbohydrates. Usually it is deposited in the body tissues. Next, it is playing an important role in the storage of fat soluble vitamins like vitamin A, vitamin D, B12 and iron. Next is immunological function. It plays an important role of the lymphoreticular system. Lymphoreticular system consists of few of the organs like spleen, lymph nodes, bone marrow and thymus. It acts as an immune defense and also in the transport of fats. Next, it plays an important role in the synthesis of plasma albumins, alpha globulins, lipoproteins, transferrin and carrier proteins, and as I told you before, it plays an important role in coagulating factors. Next is damages caused to liver. The first one is fatty liver. Fatty liver is the first stage of liver damage. It refers to the deposition of excess triglycerides in the liver cells. The normal concentration of lipids in the liver is about 5%. But in fatty liver, the concentration of lipids exceeds this 5%. In fatty liver, in other words, droplets of triglycerols are formed in the cytoplasm of hepatic cells. Next, this fatty liver causes some of the impairment in the metabolic functions of the liver. Fatty liver is always associated with fibrotic changes and cirrhosis. Fibrotic changes means formation of fibrous tissues in response to the injury or damage to the body, which finally clots blood. Cirrhosis, as you know, it's the severest condition of liver damage. Next is necrosis. Necrosis is nothing but the death of liver cells. Here what happens is, due to excessive alcohol intake, the liver becomes tender and enlarged due to the reactions which is provoked by this necrosis due to fatty liver. The main cause is because of excessive alcohol intake. Next is cirrhosis of liver. Cirrhosis of liver, as I told you, it is the severest damage of liver cirrhosis. So it's a chronic progressive disease which is characterized by scarring and nodule formation, where the normal blood flow and bile and metabolites are altered by fibrosis. So it's the final stage of liver injury and degeneration. What actually happens is liver cells become inflamed and fibrous septa develops, which causes obstructions and finally leads to liver failure. Then what happens is the active liver tissue is replaced with non-active liver tissues which are incapable of normal functioning. So such cells get filled with fibrous tissues and fat. Next, if you see the symptoms of liver cirrhosis like gastrointestinal disturbances, nausea, anorexia, vomiting, abdominal discomfort, jaundice is seen, hepatitis is seen, then bleeding tendency and electrolyte and fluid imbalance. The last damage is jaundice. This happens when the liver cells are damaged. It causes resulting in increased bilirubin, finally jaundice. Yellow pigmentation of conjunctiva, skin and body tissues because of the accumulation of bile pigments in the blood. So bile pigments are bilirubin. Here what happens is, after 120 days of life, RBCs are broken down through complex chemical reactions, resulting in increased bilirubin, which is excreted in stools and urine along with bile. Problems like increased destruction of RBCs, decreased functioning of the liver, obstruction of flow of bile from the liver can be resulting in jaundice. Next is infectious hepatitis. As you can see how the liver is badly infected. Infectious hepatitis, it's also called as viral hepatitis. It is the common cause of jaundice. So viral hepatitis is due to virus A and E and also B, C, D and G virus. Symptoms, if you see, anorexia is seen, fever is seen, loss of muscle tone, rapid weight loss, abdominal discomfort, vomiting is also seen. Here, the color of urine changes to darkish red and stools become whitish. This symptom may continue till 4 to 8 weeks. Neglected viral hepatitis can lead to chronic hepatitis and finally liver cirrhosis. Acute hepatitis like B, C, D and G can lead to chronic hepatitis A and E. Next, we'll see the dietary management. Principles of dietary management here will be high protein, high carbohydrate and moderate fat is recommended. Small regular meals at regular intervals is highly recommended. Overfeeding is not recommended. The first nutrient is energy. There are different kind of feeding techniques involved. Nasogastric feeding, jejunostomy feeding. First one is nasogastric feeding. In this stage, about 1000 kilocalories are recommended. Then depending on the tolerance of the condition of the patient, 1600 to 2000 kilocalories are recommended. Next, we'll see proteins. During this condition, the liver cells have to regenerate. So, adequate supply of nutrients like proteins are very much important. So, here protein requirements vary according to the severity of the condition. With severe jaundice, you give 60 to 80 grams of proteins, whereas with mild jaundice, 40 grams of proteins are highly recommended. Next is fats. Fats make the food very tastier, palatable and improves the eating quality of the patient. So, during conditions like hepatic coma where the death of liver cells take place, so in such conditions, fats are not metabolized properly by the liver. Hence, you have to restrict the amount of fats. In severe conditions, 20 grams of fats are recommended, whereas in moderate, 20 to 30 grams of fat is suggested. Next, carbohydrates. Carbohydrates plays an important role as a source of energy. But when the The proteins are not used as a source of energy. Carbohydrates play an important role to supply energy. When fever, nausea and vomiting are present, intravenous feeding of about 10% glucose is administered either orally or intravenously. Intravenous feeding should be stopped while taking oral feeds. So, initially the patient will be on intravenous feeding for about 2 to 3 days, and then oral feeds have to be started. Next is vitamins. Vitamins play an important role to regenerate the liver cells. 500 milligrams of vitamin C, which is present in sweet lime or orange or lime, can be given. 10 milligrams of vitamin K and supplements of B complex vitamins are essential to meet the daily needs. So, vitamins can be given in the form of supplements. If anorexia, nausea or vomiting is seen, as I told you, it can be given through supplements or injection. Next is minerals. Oral feeds of fruit juices, meat soups with added salt can be given orally or through a nasogastric tube or through a Reil's tube feeding, maintaining the electrolyte balance. Normal serum level of sodium and potassium should be maintained through supplements. You get different kinds of supplements like B protein, Ensure, Diabetic, Ensure Plus. So, intravenous feeding next is. Intravenous administration of 10% of glucose can be given to maintain their electrolyte balance. Foods included like high protein, high carbohydrate and low fat is recommended. So, cereal porridges, soft chapatis, then bread, rice, skimmed milk, tapioca, then yam, fruit juices, sugar, jaggery, custard without adding butter can be given. Next we will see the foods avoided. Pulses is avoided, split pulses is highly recommended, beans, meat, fish, chicken are avoided, dried food products are avoided, nuts, spices, then salt rich foods like papads, pickles, chutneys are avoided. Alcoholic beverages are also avoided. So, enough fluids have to be maintained to prevent dehydration. Suppose with severe hepatitis, patients have to be monitored their water load. So, they have to be maintained with the normal electrolyte balance. Thank you.